I think I'm going to like podcasts where we have to wake Cameron up first thing in the morning. It's getting the best of Cameron. Cameron at his rawest, shooting from the hip.
Oh my
We all
gosh.
have established I'm not a morning person.
Oh, Heather says you're almost here. So I'm glad I saw that. Wow. My bad. Sorry, Heather.
Okay.
Here we go.
See, now we just can't do that. You say now, and we're all like, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do? What do we?" Everybody freezes.
Deer in
I don't know what
headlights.
to
Deer in
do.
headlights.
It's like, come on.
Just real quick before we get to the Christmas stuff that we've pre-planned.
But without talking to each other.
Without
about it.
talking to each other. What's now that we've got 2 episodes out, what's everyone's thoughts on how it's going so far? I feel like it's way more official. I feel like people are actually listening, whereas the first 2, I was like, I don't know if anyone's ever going to hear any of this.
Yeah.
But now it's like,
That
oh,
may have been a problem. Thinking along the lines it'd never be heard.
yeah.
I did notice,
see what you mean.
to be fair, but I wonder if it's like people that know us, right? So a lot of people listen to the first one and sometimes multiple times.
Yeah.
And like, so we were told, and I can see like the downloads are way up on the first one. But I was telling somebody yesterday too, like the downloads did happen on the second one too, and not as many. But to be fair, as I'm watching the downloads and the analytics on the second episode, people are still downloading the first one.
Oh,
It's
really?
just slower, so it's still going up. So like when we had like 250 technical downloads before the second episode went up.
Right.
And then I'm watching the second episode get to 100, and then I realize I'm going to check episode 1. Oh, it's at 300. So people kept downloading the first one, like, and that's not views on YouTube or clicks. It's legit downloads, like to their device. They downloaded
cool.
it to listen to it. So
I had a random guy I work with, never met him before, not a clue. And I was talking to my boss, and all of a sudden he comes and goes, "Hey, when's the next podcast?" And I'm like, "Soon?"
The Bush League podcast brings people together.
It
brings
it does.
It bridges the gaps in communities.
And I would like to give a special shout out to the 2 guys in Texas and the one in France who has listened to every minute. We don't know who you 3 fellas are, but we appreciate the support.
But we have a prize in the mail for you. Except
We don't
it's
know who
not
you
true.
are.
We don't know who you are. So
So if you're that guy from France, feel free to message us.
and we will continue.
We
to
will
not
send you an
anything.
autographed 8x10 photo of the 4 of us.
I don't think anybody has an 8x10 photograph autographed by us.
That's the joke.
He probably clicked on the wrong podcast by mistake, and then it played, and then he went and did something, and then he was like, "What the heck
Left
was
it
that?"
playing.
When he came
Yeah,
back,
and then click next. Might as well hear the rest of the story now.
I had a similar thing. Like I had people at work, I had people at Hillside there where I go to church. Just oh hey, I listen to the podcast, and oh yeah, where'd you listen to it? Oh, I had it on at work, or I was driving to work, or a lot of people said I downloaded it. Haven't listened to it yet, but I downloaded it, and I'm like, well, that's good. You did your friend duty on that. You just you acknowledged that it exists. So thank you.
Yeah, and then I had a couple people tell me they listened to it twice. And then I had one person tell me they felt bad they hadn't listened to it yet, but the night before they listened to both episodes back to back.
Wow.
And I thought, you're a sucker.
2 hours of
Man,
this.
2 hours of it.
That's a lot of
I'm
us.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if your insurance covers that.
No. All good comments, so people think it's funny. So it's apparently, without trying to,
Well, it's just who we are. We're naturally just funny people.
If it ever gets out to more of the online community that we don't know, I think the true feedback will
Hurt?
I was trying to think of a way to say that.
maybe so. Maybe
I
so.
don't want to say true feedback because I feel like it's just offended everyone that said it was.
It's early,
good.
so the truth is going to be said.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'd like to, like, if people are listening, I'd like to encourage people to get on our social media stuff too. Only because, like if you don't want to like it, that's okay. But if you think we're idiots on here, you should see us online. So if you'd like to participate in some conversations and stuff, like I like the dream for me is that the social media spots like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook just become almost places like the podcast, and people can just have conversations and have fun on there too, and that'd be a.
So if it's not already obvious, Tyson is the social media guru that knows how to do all this stuff.
I wouldn't say guru.
Oh, you want to be called Grand Poobah
Swami.
or Master?
Grand
Swami.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. It's cool to be recording one of these
The Grand.
with
Oh my God.
yeah.
The Ayatollah.
We'll incorporate all these
podcastola.
names like Grand Dragon just to discover later they're KKK names. Yeah, that sounds great.
There's always something we have to research, and then we find out. Oh
my
yeah,
gosh.
you can't say that.
Tyson is the Grand Wizard of social media. That's great.
Luckily, I've not heard from the people of Roma, so I think we're safe.
With the G word,
The G
I guess
word.
we have to say the G word.
Oh, the Nomads.
The nomads.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So what do we so now it says we record this. It's approaching the Christmas season. So as per discussion,
Do you want me to help you out here, buddy?
yeah, I'm watching levels at the same time that I'm talking, and as you can tell, it's just kind of crashing in my brain. So why don't you take this one, Cam?
Tyson is the media person. Jeremy is the technical person, and he gets a little embroiled into his job sometimes.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
now we're going to talk about Christmas, and it is coming soon, and we all, everybody loves Christmas for the most part, and everybody loves certain movies, and it makes their, Christmas season. Everybody has that one movie. It's not Christmas until you watch that one specific movie.
So Cameron,
Tyson.
hypothetical.
Sure.
You're living the dream. You're in the woods of Jamaica. It's Christmas
You
time.
got your hot chocolate in the woods.
You fire up your windmill above the trees, and you've got just enough power to watch one Christmas movie.
After you've used all your toenails to cut the trees down.
Yeah. What Christmas movie is it that you're watching at Christmas time away from the snow in the woods of Jamaica?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Wow.
It is what is watched when I put my Christmas tree up and decorate it. That is the movie I watch.
I can't even argue with that.
That's not a bad pick at
That's
all.
not a bad pick at all. No.
Yeah, that's kind of like Jack Hughes going first overall in the draft. Like that's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, that makes my top 5.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's impressive. I figured you'd,
No, I'm having a hard time ranking them.
That's the problem, though. Everybody has that one movie that they say, all right, this movie is the best. This movie's the best. And then you get with your buddies and you're like, well, how could it be that way? What about this movie? And then you're always confused at it because you're like, that's still my number one, but I see where he's going with that.
Mhm.
You just can't argue with it.
No, I love National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I think it's whatever you had growing up that becomes your favorite.
Well, and I don't think I had that movie growing up, to be honest. It just kind of happened through. But there's parts of that movie that are more real life that I find funny that don't get highlighted. Like everyone, like all the shirts and stuff with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is like Randy Quaid out with the RV emptying it into the sewer
Yeah.
and causing, or it's, like the Christmas tree blows up or he electrocutes himself trying to, but like the stuff that's more real life is like, you know what I mean? Like Chevy Chase puts his feet down through the ceiling by accident and wrecks
he's
the
on
ceiling right before Christmas because he's trying to walk around in the attic. Yeah.
My favorite part of that whole movie is when all of a sudden he comes down the banister and grabs the top of the banister and wiggles it and takes the chainsaw and cuts it off. And goes,
just had
fix
enough
the
of it."
newel post.
That's when he lost his mind because he doesn't realize he's not getting the bonus.
Yeah, with
He's just had
chainsaw.
enough.
Should we
Yeah.
say spoiler alert for?
It's Christmas? You're
Christmas
fair. You're
vacation.
fair game with Christmas movies, I think. Yeah, I think you're fair game. I've always my go-to. I have a hard time picking one, but my go-to, like my favorite Christmas movie, probably that like I force feed my kids to watch is A Christmas Story.
Ah.
Oh, I love that one so much.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Come on, guys, wait up, guys, wait up.
Come back,
Charlie, come back.
Can't even argue with that one either.
Scott
Fargus.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that one.
Even the fudge.
Now,
Except I didn't say fudge.
Now, where did you hear that word? I had heard my old man use that word every day when he goes down to fix the furnace.
Yeah. Then you can hear his best friend getting a whooping in the background over the phone because he lied and didn't say it was his father. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big, I've always been a fan of the Santa Claus, Tim Allen.
Oh,
Just solid.
yes.
That's
Just
a
the
solid.
sarcasm.
Good.
So great.
Yeah.
I still laugh every year.
Does
So,
this look
Scott-
like a little bit of weight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Scott, what did you and Charlie do on Christmas Eve? Well, we shared a bowl of sugar, skinned a cat, cleaned the shotgun, looked for women. I read him a book. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good pick too.
Right now, everyone's like, you didn't say this line. You didn't say that line.
Oh, yeah.
People listening. Gary, got one?
We're all looking at Gareth waiting for a.
Yeah. I probably have to be Elf, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Getting more of the modern stuff, I guess. But
Yeah.
Elf would be the one that we watch all the time.
Santa!
I know him.
But I'm more likely to watch something like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings over Christmas than
Really?
actual Christmas movies.
Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars seems to happen here too. Yeah. At our
Really?
place, yeah. Star Wars happens.
Do you do that?
No, I don't know.
Huh?
No, it's Christmas. It's when Christmas season hits. That's all you pretty much see.
Yeah,
Just-
that's
I
all
feel
It's
like-
on the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, I was
from
going to
the
say
beginning.
Hallmark.
It's Christmas movies
Typical
up until
Hallmark
Christmas, and then Christmas break. It seems to be like Star Wars season at our house for some reason. Like it's
Typical Hallmark movie. Guy or girl goes to a small town from big city.
no, you're wrong.
Guy
You're
meets
already
girl.
wrong. You're already wrong.
Okay, what?
It's never a guy.
Oh, it's always a girl. Oh, I apologize.
Really?
She has to be
She's from the city.
the protagonist. She's from a big city or something like that, or every once in a while they do the opposite, and she's from a small town but just had to move to a big city,
Oh, yes.
and she's the protagonist, right?
For a job opportunity?
So that's
Thing?
it. That is most of the time.
I've seen one Hallmark movie ever where it's focused on the guy.
Wow.
And they had two guys with two women, and they switched houses or whatever. And I just can't take Christmas in this small town anymore. And he finds another guy online, and they switch houses, and don't they meet each other's friends that happen to be girls, and they all fall. Yeah,
That's all the Hallmark
and it's still the small town to the big city, but that one was both. The guy went from the big city to the small town, and the small town guy went from the small town to the big city.
Mhm. But there's always that, they meet, they fight, they get back together. It ends happily.
Yeah, or they get yeah.
Always.
Big city girl comes to a small town. She was just driving through. The car breaks down, and then she falls in love with the town handyman and leaves her corporate life behind to move to a small town.
Man, it sounds great. I'd love to watch these.
And 50% of the guys are single dads.
Oh, yeah, at least.
All these, yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm pointing at you all animated. No one can see that, but it's,
He's very passionate about that point.
Tyson,
they're all the same.
Tyson's like a Hallmark connoisseur.
They just changed the setting, and some of them I've noticed because my wife loves these. But we watched one the other night, and I sat there and watched it with her, and I said, this whole storyline, it didn't even need to be Christmas. It wasn't Christmas. They just made Christmas the setting for this thing. Like nothing even. It had nothing to do with Christmas. They just put holly in the background and call it a
They
Christmas
just do
movie.
it so they can have snow in the background.
Yeah, with like the worst looking fake snow anyone has
That's
ever
true.
seen in their life. Like you do not need HD to tell that that's fake snow. Or I watched one the other night with her, and like someone had sprayed all the windows to look like there was snow on the windows, but
yeah.
you could see the spray marks where someone, when you spray paint, that if you start on the object first, you get that one ball of spray paint, and then it's like, oh no, now it's not even. But someone had done that with the fake snow, like.
Perfect
Like all
circle.
over the windows. Yeah, all perfect circle, and that's where it started. And they left it there. How low budget is that you didn't have paper towel to wipe that off and try again? Like, my God.
These are the thoughts he's had. Watching hours and hours of
There's no way it's just me. Like, no one thought, we should fix that before we fire the cameras back up. No. Just leave it. Nobody will notice.
It's like the A-Team.
Oh, my land. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, in A Wonderful Life, though, in that scene when it's all snowing, that's actually not snow. If you watch that movie, it looks like it's snowing. They were in the middle of the desert, and they
I
did
bet,
that.
but at least they tried.
Well, and it looked real. It looked like actual snow. If you don't know,
Hallmark, are you listening?
Yeah. A Wonderful Life is an old movie, probably from 50-ish, 40s,
I don't know.
somewhere in there.
50s?
And it's like, really, guys? Like, you're Hallmark, you're like a
46, Cameron.
46?
1946.
You're a multi-billion-dollar company, Hallmark, and a guy's back in the 40s can still make snow look more real than you guys can. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the resolution wasn't quite as crisp at the time either.
And it was black and white, too, I guess.
Yeah, they could have all been like red. We wouldn't know.
Well, I can't argue with all your picks, boys. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I got like my top 5. There's like my top 5 probably family Christmas movies, and then there's my top 5 Christmas movies, which don't look like my top 5 family Christmas movies.
Well, then what
I
are
was
your...
struggling to think of like 2, let alone 2 separate top 5s.
boys.
Are you
Let's
guys
hear
serious?
Gremlins,
Oh, yeah.
Die Hard,
Oh, always. You have to watch Die Hard.
Lethal Weapon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting too old for this. Yeah. Oh, I love Riggs. All right. And then the crossover that's both is who does not enjoy Home Alone. Let's be real.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Can't believe I forgot that.
That was my number 2.
Really? Him too?
Yeah.
Who doesn't enjoy Home Alone?
Well, and I understand the Die Hard thing because it always happens at Christmas. Die Hard 1 and 2. It was like it was Christmas, it was winter. It's kind of like I actually do. I always watch Die Hard in the winter, like at Christmas time. I know it's odd, but and Katie, my wife, and my mother-in-law just watched Home Alone just like 2 nights ago.
Yep.
Like I was a fan of Home Alone too. First one was good, but the second one I liked the second one a little
The
bit better.
second one held up. It was different. It
The
held
second
up.
one had Trump in it, boys. How could it not be good?
Oh,
Wow.
Making
I
movies
forgot.
great.
It's a wonder CNN has not picked up that, like Trump runs into Lost Boy in his own hotel and doesn't try to help him and blah, 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 blah.
Points him in the right direction. It's that way.
Would just like to clarify that I am not sticking up for Trump in any way, shape, or form.
What's another
Just
good
the way
one?
the media
I
goes
feel like
now.
when I was younger, John Candy was like one of my favorite guys, but Home Alone was the only Christmas movie I could put him in. Like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's
true.
Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what else? Uncle Buck. That wasn't
Uncle Buck, he was
Christmas.
Uncle
in.
Buck wasn't,
No.
but John Hughes liked Macaulay Culkin so much in Uncle Buck that he wrote Home Alone for him, right? Like that we need a movie for this kid. It was it's not like they casted
Feature
him.
him.
This movie was written for Macaulay Culkin. Like they wanted him to.
Huh.
Yeah. I didn't know that until recently. Actually, I heard him on actually, Macaulay Culkin was on Talk Is Jericho. That's where I heard it, I think.
Because he hasn't really done anything since those movies,
Like
right?
No, he did didn't he do like The Omen? He did Home Alone 1 and 2, and then he did like
feel like he recently came out with a podcast or YouTube channel.
Yeah,
or
he does have a
something.
Yeah, because I
podcast,
saw
yeah.
his name somewhere, and I think it was.
well, he did the commercial for Home Alone, the original one, as an
Oh.
adult, and
Okay.
it's just a riot to watch.
Yeah. And he does have a podcast now, and he
Really?
I think it's rare that a weekend goes by that he's not at some wrestling event somewhere because he loves it so much. But
Can't fault
Okay.
him. Can't fault him for
can't
that.
fault him for that.
No.
yeah.
Another good movie, Christmas, Miracle on 34th Street. That's another like a classic one if you want to see an old school one.
I like how you're bringing up all these like super old ones.
Well, I'm
Cameron
old.
showing his age.
I'm actually going to agree. I think we watched that one last year. I found it wasn't bad.
But
No.
like for my top 5, always it will be National Lampoons,
Yeah.
Home Alone, Scrooged, which is one with Bill Murray in it.
I'm not I love Bill Murray, but I'm not a fan of Scrooge.
I loved Scrooge when I was like a kid. I always watched it. It's like, oh yeah, Scrooged is on. And everybody's like, why do you like it? I'm like, I don't know. It's funny. I like it.
see it makes all these top 10 lists, and I'm just not. I don't know what
know
it
if
is.
I've seen it.
It's like I want to like it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those cult classic kind of deals. Like either you like it or you don't. It's just there's no in between. I somewhat like it. I always liked it, but no one I know ever liked it.
I think Bad Santa's kind of like that. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
Yeah.
Don't-
I think so too. Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
probably after the kids are gone to bed.
Well, but I put that in the category of I watched it, I laughed, and I never watched it again.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yep.
Unlike Jingle All the Way.
With
I think
Arnold
so.
Schwarzenegger?
Arnold and Sinbad.
Oh yeah,
That's underrated.
wow.
I watched that last year or the year before
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It held
Isn't
up pretty good.
Power Man, or what was the guy?
Yeah, something like that.
Power Man, something like that. Yeah. Well, actually, believe it or not, my wife loves A Muppet's Christmas Carol. She watches that every year. That's like her
Man,
movie.
I love them Muppets. I have that on DVD somewhere, I think.
Yeah, that's her go-to. Like when you're gonna decorate the tree, you gotta watch that one.
I find that's terrifying. It's just like a
I love a Muppets Christmas
horrifying
Carol.
movie.
And a Charlie Brown Christmas.
It's Michael Caine, man.
I don't know, the whole ghost, that's, it's weird.
Yeah. No, a Muppets Christmas Carol I liked, and a Charlie Brown Christmas I liked. And
Scrooge, the original Scrooge.
the original,
Original Scrooge was good with the ghost.
it was good. Yeah. And
Just like,
ugh,
I don't know, it's like this.
I'm hoping my wife doesn't hear this part because I told her what we're going to talk about. But it honestly was a solid movie, but White Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
White Christmas.
And I don't really want her to hear that I enjoyed it.
So we've
But I
established that
did.
you watched it, and that's it.
And made fun of it the whole time, but secretly enjoyed it. Was just trying to cover up.
Is that a Hallmark one?
It's no. It's an old.
Ah.
I'm trying to look it up here for it. 1954.
Oh.
Yeah, like Bing. It's like Bing Crosby's in it.
Well, it has Ben Crosby, man, right there,
Yeah.
the man.
No, but it was solid.
Louis.
Cameron's favorite actor, Bing Crosby.
Great guy.
Well, I do like. Well, one of my favorite Christmas songs is Bing Crosby with David Bowie. Actually,
That's an odd combination.
and it was an odd combination, but it worked. Yeah, and I don't know.
So
It makes my
Very-
playlist.
A very well enunciated singer and a very not well enunciated singer.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
Favorite, favorite Christmas tradition. Everybody has a favorite tradition. There's a
Watching
one.
movies.
Buying presents.
Putting lights up at minus 25.
Yeah.
Now, you see, that's where I kind of got you a little beat because believe it or not, after November 11th, I go out and I put the Christmas lights up then.
Yes, except this year there was snow on the ground at like
Yeah.
every year. I pray in a weird way that like, okay, I don't even mind snow in November, but if you could wait until after Remembrance Day, because I just don't have. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to put them up before Remembrance Day. Even if I put them up and don't light it up, but I don't want to put them up before Remembrance Day. I just don't want to. And that's even my ask in the house. Because even if I and veterans don't think that it's disrespectful, I just don't need anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, of course, this year, didn't we? Like, of course, the gutters are full of ice and snow's on the roof and all the.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, why not? So, like, while it wasn't minus 40 yet, like, there's no good way to, you know what I mean?
So now here's the question. When you put up your lights, do you do it like my dad used to do, which was hilarious? Dad had like the old school, you'd see him going with the ladder with the big old set of string of lights, and there's the staple gun.
Oh,
For years, you should see my parents eat like across the front of their house. It's like there's got to be like 1,000, 1,000 staples through it.
Looks like there's constant drive-bys.
I still remember that growing up. You hear "Tuk, tuk, tuk." You do about four.
curse word every three katooks. Yeah. I was saying this year is kind of fun because this is the first year that, with our young fella, and kind of makes the Christmas stuff a little more fun again. I guess like I was kind of getting to the point. I'm like, I don't care about all of this, and it's fun. We took him to the parade, and he's not even a year yet, but he's out there looking at all the stuff, and you can just see him like processing the whole thing, and kind of makes it fun, for him. I'm still not putting lights up this year because he one more year where he doesn't know what that is, but we'll have to do it next year.
yeah.
A little hard to do your lights though. You're in like a duplex, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you do like you could, if you drove by, you would see like if I was to do it where the ladder stops, it'd be like, yeah, that guy quit, and he's like, I'm not going up there. It's like a certain height, and they all stop.
Yeah. Well, you could be like the guy just up the road here from where I live. There's a guy, he has a big, huge Grinch, a big cutout of the Grinch, and he has the lights like part of the way across his house, and then they string down, and it's the Grinch pulling them down.
Oh,
it's like
the most genius house decoration ever. One strand of lights, and you only had to put half it up.
It's
like he just finished tearing them all down. Yeah. It's fantastic.
The Grinch has got this real cool, like, little grin on his face, like I'm pulling the lights down.
It's genius.
It's genius, man.
Yeah. I haven't put mine up yet.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
There's the idea.
There's the idea, man.
There you go.
And I didn't finish. It was too cold when we have inflatables.
Yeah, my dad.
We have a lot of inflatables. We have one strand of lights across the deck, and like we're in a pretty new house, so like our bushes that she wants to put lights on so much, like I had to point out to her, like, you realize they're just not grown yet. Like they're not
like the ones in front of my house.
Yeah, they're not going to hold anything.
I have ones that are about what, like 6 feet, maybe 5 feet high, probably about 3 feet wide, and they just keep wrapping.
And we've got little babies that are 2 feet high and maybe 8 inches wide. Like they're just not. Yeah.
Throw the lights on them. There. Why did you have a clump of lights on your yard?
Yeah. They're just not there yet. Yeah. With the inflatables and some lights and
Yeah, my dad started doing the inflatable thing about 4 or 5 years ago, and he's all proud of himself. He takes the tractor, goes to the front yard, pushes all the snow off the front yard, makes this little path, and then he sits them down and goes, there. And then he just leaves them, and he makes sure they're always inflated when it snows, so he doesn't have to go out and dig around them. And I know my dad's not listening to the podcast because he doesn't do that, so I can say this stuff and get away with it.
Your sister does, doesn't she?
Yeah. It will find its way, man.
My nephew's gonna wrap me up.
We've got quite the plethora of Star Wars inflatables out there, actually.
Really? I like that.
Got 2 different stormtroopers and Darth, and we got Yoda, R2, BB-8, and Chewie. And then on the other side, as if it's the same universe, we got Santa and a reindeer. So it's
Santa versus Star Wars. Who would win the death match?
The Force versus Christmas spirit.
Rudolph comes flying in.
Yeah. But you were asking for traditions.
Yeah, like my wife's family, every Christmas Eve, they throw a big party. And a couple years ago, we inherited that party. So everybody comes like to our house, like everybody. And it's kind of neat. Like everybody
That's funny, boys.
Up.
Did you two ever get an invite to Cameron's house for Christmas Eve? I never got an invite to Cameron's house Christmas Eve.
I said her family.
I know.
But now the cat's out of the bag, Katie, guess what? I know you're listening.
But when you said inherited, did you say that with a...
No, I like it.
Oh, okay.
No, I like it.
I detected a sense of...
No, I like
we
it.
inherited this party.
Well, it was kind of out of the blue. It's like, we can do that. Yeah, we can, sure.
Okay.
No, it's always good. Everybody comes over and they do their Christmas present swap. And a couple of years it gets interesting because Katie's cousin decided, well, I'm going to make it hard for someone to unwrap a present. So he taped it all up. So the next year, Katie's godchild tie wrapped his present with probably 100 tie wraps around the box.
Tie wraps.
And she handed it to him. She said, "Here you go."
Oh, that's brutal.
Have a good time.
That's pretty much. And ever since then, it has escalated.
That's not worth it to me. I don't think I'd open it.
I'm not sure there's ever been a Yankee swap where I didn't forget it was happening on the way there and get the classic $5 Tim card.
And it always went first.
I know I'm not the only one. I know it.
No.
The best I've seen is there was the gag gifts, and there was one, it was a pack of pens, and every pen was a different thing, like the divorce attorney and
That's solid.
That's awesome.
Yankee swap. It surprises you in a Yankee swap though sometimes what people will cling right onto. I went to one and there was a little Lego set. It was oh, that's kind of cool. And I'm thinking in my head, I kind of want that, but I'm an adult. Why would I want that?
Cameron takes it from an 8-year-old.
Runs across the room. Sorry.
So the next thing you know, you got two guys in their 20s just tormenting each other relentlessly. I'm going to take that. No, you're not. I'm going to take it. one guy gets it. As soon as he gets it, the other guy just kind of grins at him. He's like, "That's mine." So he takes it. Next thing you know, like their grandfather, their father goes, "Ha! I take it from you." It's like, what is going on here?
This is a very it sounds like a very specific event. Like, what was it? What are you talking about? Like, is it a Lego thing?
Yeah, it was like and it was just a Lego little car with a guy in it.
One of the gifts in the Yankee Swaps.
It was just a random. You're like, why would anybody want that? But in the back of your head, you're secretly going, that'd be kind of cool to have that.
Well, Yankee Swaps bring out a darkness in humanity because you don't really want that. It's more like, I don't want you to have that because you seem to be enjoying it.
And the guy in the
If I'm
end,
being honest, I don't want anything here.
I don't want you all to have anything.
Oh, you love Quality Street, do you? It's a real shame. Because I only want the strawberry-filled ones.
the eternal struggle at Christmas time. Going to the Quality Street. Hey, who took this color? Meanwhile, someone's kind of sneaking off.
Yeah.
I always get the wrong one. I always get that weird one with the weird flavor that you weren't expecting in the middle. Because I never read the little diagram that shows you which
I
one
just
is
go
which.
for the red ones. I figure the
Yeah, that's the one that
strawberry cream ones or whatever.
everybody's digging into it. They're like, where is it? Where is it? And someone's walking by, a little grin on their face, and they don't say nothing. They see them walk into the other side of the room, like trying to unwrap it quietly.
You must have got one of those rare tins with no caramel cups in it.
How odd.
Strange.
See, Christmas tradition right there. Quality Street. Everybody, most of the people have Quality Street in their house at Christmas.
My favorite too, though, is also like the pot of gold.
Oh, yeah.
That nobody wants to be that guy to take the middle one. you know you want it. And it's not your box, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, would you like a chocolate? And you see it there.
It's like assumed
the pot of gold stamp center chocolate's still there.
the patriarch of the family.
It's like the man of
Has
the
the
house cuts the
exclusive
turkey,
right
but
to the-
yeah. Like, oh no, I can't take the center one.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is not my house.
That has the logo on it. I can't take that.
Or the person that's sneaky goes in and lifts the second layer up and takes it from the bottom, doesn't
Yeah.
tell anybody, puts it back down, and as soon as everybody gets down the top and they're like, oh, I'm so excited about getting to the next layer, they open up, someone's been into this.
Yeah, someone's been into the second layer already. Yeah. Yeah. The unwritten rule of you don't touch the second layer till the top layer's gone. Yeah.
And then there's always that
There's
one
that one
nobody
person.
wants.
Yeah.
On
It's
the top.
I'm telling you, it's the coconut one.
That's it.
Why do they even put it in there? That's just filler. It's like when you get a box of mixed Timbits and they give you plain Timbits. Like, gee, thanks.
Thanks for going the extra mile.
I guess the dog needed a treat too. I appreciate it.
I know some people are going to roll their eyes, but my favorite Christmas tradition is the World Juniors. I love it. I love it every year. I watch the way Team Canada puts the team together. I love all that. And then
Suppose Babcock will coach this year.
can you imagine?
No, he'll just be there for motivation.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they gave him a list of coaches to rank on how hard they work.
Wow.
Oh, man.
man.
You have to be watching the news to get that one, I guess. But anyway.
I enjoy
Yeah.
the juniors too. I understand that.
Well, like even
I don't live and die by it, but
Well, even
we enjoy
for-
watching the game.
background, like if you're at like a family thing or whatever, put the World Juniors on, Spangler Cup's usually on. You know, the one with all like the advertisements plastered all over everything. That
The rumors
tournament.
are Gretzky got asked to coach the Spangler team.
I think it was it the Spangler team or was it I forget now. I think he turned it down though. Sean Bourque asked him to.
That's what I thought. Now I'm
He
curious.
turned it down though, I think.
The World Juniors is the one thing that makes me regret cutting cable.
Oh. Well, you know what you do. And here's a yeah,
Maybe
no,
we should
but
talk about this off mic, Jeremy.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it was Spangler
Start
Cup.
with a K and end with an I.
You're right. Gretzky turned it down, but it was Spangler Cup.
It was Spangler. Okay.
Wow.
But they actually a legal way you can do it. It's a bit of a loophole. If you know someone that has cable, you can log in to either TSN Go or Sportsnet Now with their account wherever you are and just stream it or cast it to your TV.
I thought you were going to say you could run a wire from their house to your house.
yeah, it's very simple.
Just
head to the store, buy about 500 feet of coax.
Yeah. Everything in my life, and I'm pointing to equipment right now, is just running cables and connecting them and it not working. But yeah, that's a fun fact. If you know someone that has that, you can just log in and watch all that.
What'd you find out about Gretzky?
Oh, that he did turn it down. It was Spangler Cup, yeah. Yeah.
He's Gretzky. He doesn't got to do anything.
Would have been pretty cool to see him behind the bench, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, it would have been.
I mean,
Spangler's not a guaranteed win.
it's
No.
true. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why it's
not.
fun to watch. But anyway, I always like that. You can always put it on. Like every day, there's a game. So
Yeah.
The old Yule Time Log channel, which
Yule
just
Time,
Yule Time.
Yule Tide,
It tied. Time.
the all-time log channel.
All log all the time.
There's the episode for this one. The title, I mean.
It's Yule time.
Yule
Oh, my God.
The Yule Time Log channel.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear.
Sponsored by
awesome.
Binford Tools.
Yeah.
Shop smart. Shop S-Mart.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's wild.
So
Yule time.
that's a good one.
Oh,
That's not so bad.
it's not even that funny, but it makes my day for some reason.
Well, that's what I'm here for, boys.
Yeah.
Make everybody laugh.
I enjoy the little things over Christmas, and like it might not seem like a big deal, but even like over the years, we always went to my parents' house Christmas Eve, and after the boys were born, it started being at my place just because the boys are going to go to bed, right? And they're all excited for Christmas morning, and Mom makes Chinese food, and everybody makes something, and it's almost like a Chinese food potluck here in the house, and watch a Christmas movie as a family, and put the boys in bed, and
She still make puppy chow.
she does still make puppy chow.
Nice. Always loved you. Always loved the puppy chow, Sherry.
Oh, it's harder to find, I think, because she needs Crispix or something for it now, and it's harder to find, but there's usually a bag of her puppy chow, or for those who don't know, she like takes Crispix, and then it's like milk chocolate mixed with the Crispix, and then it's rolled around in powdered sugar or something, and oh my gosh.
It's very good.
That and her chip and toffee squares, or
That's like Katie makes.
hint, hint.
Katie makes peanut butter balls.
Yeah.
That's the big thing at
Oh,
home. They
I like
always get the
those.
peanut butter balls, and it's like everybody's like, "Got any peanut butter?" Oh yeah, and they just magnet, just tink.
I didn't realize we were going to be talking about food. If there's one thing I love, it's a podcast talking about food. Always listen right before lunchtime. It's my favorite.
Didn't you say your hero in the other episode was like Guy
Elton
Fieri?
Brown.
Oh yeah, Elton Brown. Yeah.
Guy Fieri. Get out of here with your Guy Fieri.
Gary's hangry right now.
I thought I was the morning person. Whoa.
No grocery
Nothing to
games
do
for
with
Gary.
morning.
He's not-
I am hungry.
Peanut butter balls.
I had 2 McGriddles on the way here, but they're long gone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose you got a McDonald's right there,
there,
beside-
Magnetic Hill, yeah, right before you hit the
where
Rogers
you're
Hill
heading
Road.
out. Yep.
But I kind of got the, it was still the night team. So you can tell they're on their way
B-team.
home. So, they don't care. Cause like on each of them, one of the, I don't know if you call them buns on McGriddle. They're basically like a pancake, was like very crispy and very, very tough, and I was
Almost as if it had sat around for a few hours.
and I was like, you know what? This, your first job. You're quite young. You just worked all night. I'll let you have that one. That's fine.
It's the downside of all day breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're giving me flashbacks to you boys know the story, but the listeners won't know. So I had a roommate in Maine when I went to school there. This is going to sound so mean, but I promise it was funny if you were there. So we walked into the Walmart.
Is this the?
Yeah, in Presque, Maine. And there was a young woman sitting on the scooter, the handicapped cart, at the front of the Walmart, and she's the greeter. And she didn't make eye contact with us. There's no carts around. There's nothing there. And it seems like it's snowing outside. It's dead space. And we walk through, and we're looking for a cart, and he couldn't find one. And he looked at her, and she didn't even make eye contact, didn't even acknowledge we existed. And we started to walk away, and he kind of had a moment of, no, just wait a second. He turns around, he walks back over, and he said, listen, dear. Which he probably shouldn't have said dear to begin with. His little... And to the listeners, this was a long time ago, I promise. So don't like write in hate mail. Or this was not me, I'd like to clarify. And he said, some of us, we're going to be lawyers and doctors and teachers and mechanics and technicians and police officers. And, we mess up our job. It's going to be a very big deal. But you, all you had to do was smile and say, welcome to Walmart. And you messed that up. Now, can you point me to a shopping cart?
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
I can't believe you said that, Cameron.
Plot twist.
For the record, it was not me.
It was not any of these guys. But I remember at the time kind of like silently groaning like, ooh, that's harsh. And as life has gone on and it's gotten further and further away, it's become more and more funny that I'm sure she's forgotten about it.
What was your favorite present as a kid, guys? It's Christmas morning.
Oddly enough, that did not clip.
Wow. Did that not clip?
Yeah. That's
True story.
properly
I
set.
did my best.
Yeah, properly set gate stage.
Like it all mushes together for me. You know what I mean? Because as you get older, you can't. But there's a couple gifts that I specifically remember coming down the stairs, and there they were. I remember when the morning, I was probably 13 or 14, that like I had a new guitar sitting there, the little Squire Strat. It was my first. But like I specifically remember getting Castle Grayskull from He-Man.
Wow.
I remember when Castle Grayskull was sitting there in the turtle van. I remember getting the turtle van one Christmas. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's funny what you remember because it might not have been, you might have had gifts that carried on for a long period of time after that. You know what I mean? That you remember using a lot. But like, I just remember like Christmas morning going,
For me, it was Voltron. I remember getting all of the lions, and it was all like,
oh man.
yeah.
See,
I had all of Ultron, but I don't remember when I got it or how, like, I don't remember, but I remember having the toys.
I guess this will properly date things because I remember getting the original Power Rangers Megazord, which was kind of the Voltron ripoff, but I didn't know that at the time. Yeah.
I remember getting the NES when I was probably 6.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I remember getting the NES too. I remember getting the Power Glove for Christmas.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It was very rare
Wow.
to see a Power Glove.
Got one in the room there,
I know,
buddy.
but that's what I mean. It was like no one had one.
Did it come with Duck Hunt or did everyone go
did.
by it? It did, eh?
It did come with Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario
It was
Brothers
Mario
and Duck
/ Duck Hunt is what it came with.
Yeah, right.
And how old were you guys when you realized that in Duck Hunt, player 2 could control the direction of the ducks?
2 days ago.
Really?
2 days ago.
What? Oh, you're not kidding?
Not kidding. 2 days ago.
Because I never knew.
I never knew until
Up until last year, I didn't know.
2 days ago. I was just happened to be flipping through, and it was like,
I thought it was a one-player game. I never.
yeah, it said Seth Rollins
I still didn't- I didn't
shows
know that.
25-year-old thing. I was like, what? I said, that's not true. And I looked it up. I'm like,
Wow.
wait, what do you mean there was a manual with Duck Hunt? What? And he actually, it says in the manual. I was like, I never knew that.
I never knew. I
To
never
the
knew.
surprise of nobody, I did know this because I randomly mash buttons constantly.
Of course.
Captain Button Mashing.
Wow.
Of course you did.
Wow.
Wow.
I did not know that. Is there a way you can shoot that stupid dog?
There is a game
No, you're not.
online.
Sounds really. You can take that one
Online.
out of context.
That you
pretty
can
good.
shoot the dog?
Online, that's what the game is. It's that you can shoot the dog.
Because there's something about that little, when he comes up at the end and goes, you just want to.
You're like clicking.
Wow.
My first NES came from, believe it or not, my grandmother Mullen bought it for my grandfather Mullen, who was in his 60s. And he had me come over. He's like, I got this new thing. I'm like, what is this thing? Your grandmother picked it up for me. It's some Nintendo thing. I was like,
Nintendo.
Okay. So anyway,
Wow.
they set it up, and he's looking at me. He goes, well, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. I've never seen this thing before. Like, this is new to me. He goes, well, it came with this. I'm like, that's an orange gun. That's amazing.
That's a fantastic grandfather story. My grandfather introduced me to
How come everybody had the orange gun but me? Mine was all gray.
That means yours came from the States.
What? Really?
Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. The older versions from the States were gray. The original versions.
How do you know that?
They changed the color because it looked like a real gun. So they changed them to orange.
Wow. It
How do
looked
I
like
know?
a real gun? Really?
Well,
The big cord hanging out the bottom of it.
Yeah.
cut the cord off. My cousin did that. He cut the cord off and ran around and used it as a gun. You can hear it going cling, cling, cling. Like,
But how would you get one? Oh, yeah, obviously you went for a trip. Someone went down to the
I
States.
must have. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause
probably in the lower states,
His
right?
family went to the States all the time.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
true.
maybe.
And
True.
my grandmother, she did too, but she got hers in Maine, so I don't know. But my grandfather's the one who introduced me to
That's an awesome
NES.
story.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And he played it like once. He goes, "Well, I don't like this." I'm like, "Why not?" Well, I can't. And he's, same thing. I can't shoot the dog. What's the point?
Wow.
Man, I've never owned Blades of Steel, but I'm sure I rented that game enough that I probably spent about $400 on it in my life.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of owning Blades of Steel.
I can still remember the very first game I ever rented for the Nintendo. It came with Mario and Duck Hunt, but I went to the little corner store where I'm from. It was called Mary Ellen's. It's this little place, and I got 1943. That was the very first game I ever rented for a Nintendo. And I continued to rent it until probably the next 6 months.
It's obviously
was
a
that?
World
War
War.
Yeah, World War II P-38 game. Just a little airplane game. Awesome.
Okay.
It's like arcade style.
Yeah, we had the corner store at the road, $2 to rent a
man.
game. And I think every single weekend we get 2 or 3 games.
Oh, yeah.
In the summer, it was constant 7 days a week.
They made their money.
Yeah, it was the same.
Man, well, there was a while when there was a while where I lived at your house, babe, and my mom and dad, and that was the Canadian dream. He'd walk up the road to the corner store and rent a game, and walk back and play it all week and bring it back, and you get chips and you get a pop. And it was the best.
Actually, I believe we did the same thing when I lived there too.
We did? It's probably Blockbuster then.
Blockbuster definitely was.
Oh, yeah.
You go get the 5 movies.
Cameron would get the 7 movies for 10 nights or whatever. 10 movies for 7 nights, something like that.
I thought it was, I don't even remember what it is. Was it 10 movies?
I forget. It
I
was
thought it
either
was 7 movies for
10 for
5
7 nights or 7 for 10 nights. Or
I can't remember, but
probably 7 for 10 nights.
There
That
was
would
2
make
of
more
them. There
sense.
was the new releases were 3 days.
yes, and the old releases
And the old
were
ones
weeks.
were 7 days.
Yeah.
But Cameron used to get some deal where he'd get like a block full of videos. Cameron wouldn't just rent a movie. Cameron would go rent half the store.
What do you guys?
Well, you knew all the employees, right? Because I remember the supervisor. She had the long blonde hair. I never knew her name.
I don't remember her name, but she.
You know
knew
who
it.
I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
but she
Like,
knew us all. Like
knew all of us.
we all.
Oh, she
Cameron
knew
would
us.
drive up in his little white van.
Listen, that white van is iconic.
In all fairness,
Absolutely.
that was the way to get around.
I had,
Was that white van?
I had a 1994 Dodge Caravan, with red interior. It was my grandmother's van.
It was a beauty.
It
which
was,
still has Fruit Loops in it somewhere.
that was the camp.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a
another.
long rabbit hole that people familiar with the situation are rolling their eyes at right now, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to talk about it again."
We'll just shelve that for another day.
But I'm thinking
The van had a lot of armor all.
this is unrelated, but we also must have set a record for renting Dazed and Confused. I think
you
easily
remember
rented that
the
like
lady at
20 or
Blockbuster?
30 times.
Do you remember the lady at Blockbuster?
That's what I was
'Cause
just saying.
You had the option to like buy it, right?
Oh yeah. She
And at
bought
one
it
point,
like
it was
100
like the
times.
32nd time or something we rented it, and she, you can purchase this for $19.99.
You already spent like $150 at that point.
And that's when Blockbuster went into business.
But it's just funny because it's you rent games and play them over and over. We did that with a movie. Like, who does that with a movie
Oh, yeah.
every
Saturday
weekend?
night, what are you going to do? I don't know, guys. Go rent Dazed and Confused.
Everybody had
Burger King and Dazed and Confused.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had that go-to movie, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody
Oh,
has,
yeah.
has that one that they watched so much that they like broke.
Yep.
Like watched until it wore out. It's like, yeah, that. Let's watch this. Oh, we can't.
And
Why?
I don't know why though.
Funny
'cause,
enough,
like,
that was Home Alone for me.
but we would put it on. We'd go to Gary's. We'd put on Dazed to Confuse, and we wouldn't even really watch it.
No, it's
Yeah.
just playing in the background.
But we went out of our way and rented the thing.
We would stop what we were doing for the whole I get older, they stay the same age. Stop for that line.
Yeah, and the hey man, you cool?
Like how? Okay.
Which Tyson still uses to this day.
Funny, I don't know if any of us. Does anyone own that movie?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. You just have it on in the background here.
That was the first time I watched it was because of you guys, and then the second time, and then the third time, and then the fourth time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Renting at Blockbuster was amazing.
I remember,
Always.
didn't you rent like Sim City a bunch of times? I remember that one being
Yeah, that
there a
quite
lot.
bit.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was
I think it was like the original one, wasn't it?
for the
For the SNES.
SNES.
Oh yeah, so that'd have been for the
Jeremy
Super
wouldn't have been old enough
Yeah.
for the NES.
Yeah.
And let's not forget our non-going tradition of GoldenEye and the N64.
Oh man.
Perfect Dark.
Wasn't a fan of that game.
Well, because you couldn't turn off the blurry thing. So annoying.
The stupid rave incident came. It was perfect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Godfrey. Much like the hockey game that Tyson and you almost gave us
But Perfect Dark was one only maybe 3 times in my life I saw Cameron mad.
Really?
Yeah.
So
3 times?
Cameron liked to use the handle
Raven.
Ravenheart.
Yeah.
Ravenheart.
Ravenheart.
That was his ICQ name.
So
Yes,
Ravenheart.
it was.
so Cameron was in the middle of typing in his username Ravenheart on the thing, and I discovered through my button mashing that I can lock everybody else out.
So he
And
made
set
it
up all the game options myself.
Yeah.
So I locked Cameron out at the point that he just typed in rave.
for the rest of the night. Every time he opened his mouth, stupid rave. Quiet, stupid rave.
Then we
And you
got
get-
in the white van and went up to McDonald's.
Yes.
Stupid rave.
Yeah.
Stupid rave.
I think it was when we got in the van that he was like, all right, boys, that's quite enough.
Probably didn't say it that nice either.
Oh, he did not.
No. And here we are 20 years later, and he's still
Oh,
stupid
man.
rave.
He's literally in the group chat. His name is Stupid Rave.
Yeah.
Yep. True.
Oh, man.
See, that's the
Wow,
weird
that
thing about
escalated
it.
quickly.
Went to the dark place quick.
Yeah. Wow. I love morning Cameron. Oh man.
No one loves morning Cameron. Even at work, they knew to stay away from me, even when I got at work at 11. And they're like, you're getting to work at 11. They're like, yeah, don't talk to him till at least 12, 12:30. Give him time to, get into his happy place.
I can tell you from him living at my house as well, since we mentioned it, that he does not appreciate being attacked in hallways in the middle of the night, early morning either.
So, I'm going to tell this story because okay, so it's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
So excited.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I wear glasses because I cannot see 2 feet in front of me. So I wasn't wearing my glasses, and I lived at Gary's house, and I was the far bedroom down the other end. So I was coming toward the bathroom with no glasses on, walking along, used the bathroom, coming back, and I heard his hee. What was that? So I turn to my right, and all I see is a fist in my face. He jumps on me, starts beating me and kicking me, and then just disappears.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. So
That's not even my favorite Gary attack on you.
There's one of them that's on an ancient video. I don't even know if anything can play it anymore.
So, as revenge, and you may remember, may not, the next day or the day after, Mr. Godfrey was in bed asleep. I was going to go to school because...
You're taking this to a whole different...
So I crawled in.
I'll show him.
No. Mommy, why is the blanket so scratchy?
Like a giant SOS pad.
Continue, Cameron.
Wow. So I got at the end of the hall. Gary had his door open. He was sleeping. So I was going to go to school. I got to the end of the hall, took a full run as fast as I could from the end of the hall, jumped into his room, off of the bed, on top of him, and started to beat him, and then threw him onto the floor and kicked him, and then took off.
The very first day that you moved in, before your stuff was even in the room, I think Jeremy was there too.
Yeah. That's
You
just what I was
stood
gonna
on
say.
top of my bed, waiting for me to enter the room.
Only for me to enter the room.
And then as he goes to jump, his foot proceeds to go through the particle board on the bed.
Because this is a captain's bed with a thin sheet of particle board. So I come around the corner. I just see a guy standing on the edge of the bed with his arms up over his head like he's going to double axe handle. And when he goes to jump, just disappears into the bed.
I remember that. That hurt right across the knees.
What the
It was within about 10 minutes of being at the house.
I would have been like, I think I was 9 or 10, I think. That was
About
that was around the time that Cameron probably was really hoping to knock me out because I was an annoying little kid. But anyway.
Well, what about the time when he wasn't that much older? I had him in a sharpshooter, so I have Jay in a sharpshooter on the floor. Gary
As you do.
As you do. Gary jumps off of the pool table and gives me a scorpion death drop, which is a reverse DDT onto the concrete floor.
Yeah. Can confirm those can hurt. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
If anybody has found leather pockets for a pool table in the meantime, please add a comment to the Facebook page. Do you want to say Merry Christmas?
We could say Merry Christmas.
Good call.
Well done. And a Happy New Year.
You have the professional voice. Why don't you wish them a Merry
What do you mean
Christmas?
I have the professional
Yeah,
voice?
you're
You
trained.
have an awesome voice.
You're trained.
My voice
You
just
have a
sounds like
professional voice.
I like back flags.
my voice just sounds like a big nose.
A big no. Did you say I like spark plugs?
I don't like spark plugs.
We here at the Bush League Podcast would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you and yours a very Merry Christmas.
Oh my goodness!
Who let Barry White in there?
I think
Happy New Year.
I think I'm going to have a baby in 9 months. Wow.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow. Oh. All right. So let me think.
A happy Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
What's your feat of strength, Cameron? Isn't Festivus all about feats of
Man,
strength?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Are we doing airing of the grievances? 'Cause I had a bone to pick with you.
When I did pick out the cards, one of them was going to be, what do you complain about more than anything else?
Just basically the Festivus ritual. Let's get the poll.
The jerk store called. They're running out of you.
Try that again, Cam.
Okay. From the Bush League podcast crew, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Have a good one, eh?
Looking at us like there's something else to say. I'm with Gary. Like, what are you worried about?
You just wasted some of your life listening to the Bush League podcast. You must stop what you're doing right now. Like and subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook.